Good afternoon, good evening, good night, as they used to say on the Truman Show. And thank you for joining us this week for the Ravery Sports Podcast for fans like me. Like and subscribe to all of our social media content. So we are here on a Thursday night. So we're going to recap the week of the Baltimore Ravens, Baltimore Orioles, Maryland Terps just finished their football season. So definitely like and subscribe to all of our social media content as well. Let's go over a couple things before we get it popping and locking here. Go ahead, Genesis Notary Services /Facebook.com. If you want to go ahead and book with us here in the Shenandoah Valley area, go ahead, Genesis Notary Services. Definitely you can book time on our website. If you want to go ahead, we'll see you as soon as you book the appointment. Okay? So you go online, you book the appointment, we will serve you in a notary. This is definitely for you, Shenandoah Valley area. You know it if you go to Shenandoah Valley area. If you go to Shenandoah University, if you live in Clark County, Virginia, Frederick County, Virginia, Herndon, anything like that, we will go ahead and service you out in this area as well. Genesis Notary Services. Absolutely as well. DeliverySports.company.site. So definitely go ahead and check us out. Lamar jerseys, like this one here. Definitely check out Lamar Jackson jerseys, hats, things like that. Definitely you can go on the website, Genesis Notary Services. Genesis Notary Services as well, but RaverySports.company.site, you can get all of that information. See Charles Harris, we are LegalShield.com. Definitely Legal Shield. Definitely value of Legal Shield is tremendous. So definitely check that out. Genesis, we are CL Charles Harris, we are LegalShield.com, as well as our best of 2024 video, December 31st. So definitely that is the best of the year in Baltimore sports. So definitely check that out. You're watching this also too on our Drive to the Top Productions as well. We are been partnering with and getting squared away with as well. You can, if you're watching this on that, thank you very much for that. All right. Thank you. Still dead. All right, so thank you very much. Obviously, we had a Ravens game on Sunday. Tough loss for the Ravens this week. A lot of drama this week around the Bellagio and Owens Mills. So definitely not just the loss, but a lot happened here as well. So Ravens 24-19 loss to the Philadelphia Eagles on Sunday. Ravens dropped their record. They had their fifth loss of the year to a very good Philadelphia Eagles football team. Eagles, I think, may be the best team in the entire NFL. Certainly maybe the best team in the NFC. So I thought tough loss. I kind of came away from it, and I know some people are going to disagree, feeling differently about the Ravens, feeling differently about the Eagles than I did the Ravens as well. What's up, Pigtown? All is well, brother. All right. So, yes. So, anyway, so the Ravens and the Eagles, what happened this Sunday? So, Lamar Jackson, 23 of 36, 237, 2 TDs. Another good Lamar Jackson performance. Doesn't this most accurate day throwing the football, despite that. Really did airmail some things. Really didn't always look great throwing something. Not great for his standards. Overall, though, good day from Lamar. He was under enormous pressure. The offensive line, I've been saying it all year, has been a problem for the Ravens, and it has definitely was on last week's game. They didn't play well. That's just how it is. The line, I think a lot of people have kind of glossed over. The first couple of weeks, everybody was talking about how bad Falele was. Falele's been bad all season long. I don't think there's any question about it. Right side, left side, not as good either. Eagles have a great front as well. Derrick Henry didn't get the 20 carry mark 19 for 82. Definitely the Ravens were, the Eagles were keyed in on Derrick Henry. Henry, I thought was probably not his best game for his standards. I mean, you look at the totals, 19 of 82. Cooper DeJean, you almost never see a guy take a Henry off his feet like that. They were standing up on the Eagles sideline, and I don't blame him. Henry ran right into him. Cooper DeJean, the rookie safety for the Eagles, took him right off his feet. But they ran the ball, I thought. I think the game circumstances, I mean, had 19 carries as well. I don't lay it on Henry at all, the loss. Again, the line was terrible. I thought they were under a lot of pressure as well. I thought the rush lanes also weren't there as well. In this one, Zay Flowers, clearly now the number one target for Lamar Jackson. 3 receptions, 74 yards. I think Zay's got to do a little bit more in terms of I think got to get him more involved. I think you've definitely cleared him now as the number one receiver, not over Mark Andrews, who's still around, who's still a target for them. But definitely you got to get more Zay involved more often. The receiving core as a whole, not good. No question about it. I think, obviously, Deontay Johnson, all the drama. Apparently, he refused to go in the game when called after a Rashard Bateman injury, which happened. Rashard, no targets, ineffective in this one as well. Nelson Aguilar had a couple drops in this one. So definitely got to get more from Zay as well. Not on Zay, but I like to see them get more Zay involved in this one. Jalen Hurts, typical Jalen Hurts, 11 carries, 11 passes, 19 yards, 118, 1 TD. This was typical Jalen Hurts. This was typical Jalen Hurts stuff as well. Hurts, I think, they're doing with Hurts exactly what they're supposed to do, in my opinion. Not a great quarterback by any stretch, but he's a decent quarterback. He does certain things well. Doesn't pass outside the numbers well. He's fast, but he kind of runs inside, and they kind of do things. Say, look, run a lot in this direction so he can throw the ball in the middle of the field. That's kind of exactly what they do with Jalen Hurts. That's exactly what they should be doing with him. Saquon, probably now the leader in the fairway as far as for MVP, 23 carries, 107. Kind of matched with Derrick Henry. You had the MVP showdown there as well. I think as the game wore on, they were able to wear the Ravens down more because of time of possessions, etc. And you saw a little bit more Saquon. I honestly believe the numbers, 23 for 107, he was fairly contained. They played a lot of attention to Saquon. They were really worried about him as well. He started to break through at the end, but it could have been far worse, as well as Saquon has been playing as well. Decent job, I think, at least containing Saquon in this one. A.J. Brown, I think, is their passing game, especially without Devontae Smith in there. I think the secondary has been much improved these last few weeks since they made the change away from Marcus Williams to Devontae, from Marcus Williams to Adarius Washington. So they definitely made a change in there as well the last few weeks. So definitely keep that in mind. I think the secondary is improving as well. Decent enough day. Not a lot of throws, though, frankly, from Hurts. They obviously, you play the Eagles, they're going to run the ball. I'm sorry, that's the wrong graphic there. So let's talk about Roquan since I missed him there. Roquan had 11 tackles. Defensively, I thought it was a decent enough performance by the Ravens defense. I thought it was. I thought like they basically tried to contain Saquon. They were trying to stop the run. I thought the Russians were good as well. Roquan with 11 tackles in this one. So he was decent enough in the football game. Roquan, I think, played fairly well, especially he was definitely, you could tell he was a factor in the game. I thought they did a good job on the receivers. They double team A.J. Brown. Defense, I thought, was solid overall. Now, back to our regularly scheduled. Nolan Smith, 1 sack in this game. I thought he was decent as well. I thought the rush to the Ravens was terrific. Against the Ravens was terrific. They had trouble stopping the run. They had trouble stopping that offensive line. Offensive line was really exposed. Look, young guys. Jalen Carter, I thought they made a mistake in this one, not doubling Jalen Carter defensive tackle. So what he does is he wreaks havoc, and it kind of frees up Nolan Smith. They didn't have Brandon Graham, obviously, the vet in this game. The linebackers, the Kobe Dean and Zach Braun are terrific. Secondary is coming along. We talked about Cooper DeJean. I think they were the better football team. The Ravens actually don't see that often on the football field. They don't face teams a lot that were, quote unquote, I think, the better football team. They actually got beat by a better football team, I think, in this one. So Ravens actually lose this game 24-19. Did have some drama in this one. Got to talk about Tucker, like in this one. Tucker missed 3 kicks in this one. He missed an extra point, and he missed 2 field goals. You lose by 5 points, and that's the margin of victory. I ran a poll this week. I was kind of wondering what I thought the fans would say about Justin Tucker. It was mostly, I took a little bit to my surprise, keep Justin Tucker, because I don't think they should, but let me make the argument for it first. Let me go to that side. The argument to keep Justin Tucker, in my opinion, is what else is there, right? You want to bring Mason Crosby in, Greg Zuerlein. They're going to look at some kickers, maybe put one on the practice squad, maybe, because I'm pretty sure this too. It could be years now since they've even looked at kickers, right? But definitely Tucker is a problem. Tucker was shanking kicks like we've never seen it before. So definitely Tucker was shanking kicks, definitely was not playing well in this one. I think I'm surprised that the fan sentiment and the coaches are actually going to stick with him because he's been not good. He's missed 10 kicks. That's the most in the league. I mean, this is the GOAT Justin Tucker, before this season. So I think a lot of other coaches would have cut him too. I think like if Bill Belichick's the coach, he'd have been cut. I think Jimmy Johnson had been coaching, he'd have been cut. Had been Bill Parcells had been coaching, he'd have been cut. I absolutely believe that if that had been the case, he'd have been cut. I think the other alternative is, though, what else do you want to do, right? Do you want to go down the stretch with a kicker you're not familiar with, try and win a Super Bowl, try and win playoff games when you have a Justin Tucker? The thought is, I'm sure, we got to see if we can get it right. Because when he's on, obviously, he's the greatest ever. But not been right at all. Other drama this week. Deontay Johnson suspended by the Ravens for 1 game. Conduct detrimental to the team. Refused, apparently, according to their statement, refused to go into the game. When asked after the Bateman injury, he's been upset about his catches, his playing time, etc. Ravens actually sent him suspension as well. I am surprised they didn't cut him. I actually think part of it is the comp pick. They're hoping to get something from him so they can get that comp pick as well going down in front. If they go ahead and cut him, then they won't get it for sure. I think that's the biggest motivation, or part of the motivation to keeping him. But Harbaugh, he's got the wrong coach for that. Diva receiver on a John Harbaugh team isn't going to work. He does it. You never hear Zay Flowers complain. You never hear a lot of these receivers complain because the second it happens, he's going ahead and he's looking for somebody else. So 24-19. That's it. No game this week. So we got the weekend off here. If you are a Ravens fan, they're going to play the Giants, who are currently on the clock. I think they have the worst record in the league. Currently 2-10. So they're going to go into the Meadowlands the next time we see the Ravens on the field. So there you go. All right. So let's go ahead with our next segment here. We're going to go over our larger NFL content this week, our Big Five. So we're going to go over this as well. So, all right, our larger NFL content, the 5 biggest games on the schedule that are not Raven games this week. By the way, last week, the Ravens game, not just saying that because I'm a Ravens content creator, Ravens fan, was easily The biggest game on the schedule last week. There was no question about it. The Ravens and the Eagles, record-wise, there was no question about it in terms of who was the biggest game, who was the most important last week. Dolphins and the Packers Sunday night game. I think the Dolphins were just kind of playing above their weight class last week, Big Five last week. Dolphins were just kind of above their weight class. They kind of go into Lambeau late season. This is why I hate to say that with teams in dome and warm weather, we're in the time of year you gotta win those tight games if you're going to go to the next level. Can you? It's fine to win the ball around September, October, but can you win those tight games? Packers, that was pretty much never in doubt. Packers go ahead and win that game as well. Chargers and Falcons. I think the Falcons kind of are what I think they are. Cousins was not good. 4 picks in this game. Chargers are, again, quote Dennis Green, are what I thought they were. Chargers run game, offensive line, good defense, fundamentally sound, typical Jim Harbaugh coach team. It was enough to go into Atlanta and get the win. Squealers dropped 44 on the Bengals. Bengals defense is just bad. It's just bad. Like I know, like Raven fans get mad that Joe Burrow seems to get more of a pass than Lamar, but that's why. Like they got no defense at all. Even weeks now, they're getting holes 30 every week. Even the Steelers' mediocre offense scored 44 on them. So that's a thing. Vikings are now, everybody's paying attention to the Chiefs winning these close games. Vikings now have done this like 5 or 6 times, win close games. Cardinals, I think, are a decent team. I think like they could be falling back a little bit. Murray hasn't been quite as good the last few weeks. So they get a close win over the Vikings. So the Vikings get a close win over the Cardinals. And Sunday night game, not close. Bills totally going over the Niners. Niners with all type of problems. Definitely doesn't look like the Niners are going to make the playoffs. I think the Niners' hope to make the playoffs is that division isn't any good. So they have that there. Thursday night, the Amazon Prime game, the Detroit Lions hosting the Green Bay Packers. So this right away might be the best game of the weekend. 2 really good teams. The concern here is the Lions' injuries on defense. They already lost Aiden Hutchinson. I think they're missing like 5 or 6 guys. They've kind of won some games close. I'm kind of going to lean to the Packers here because they're just a healthier group. Josh Jacobs has been really good. Jordan Love's had some turnovers, but he's been really good lately as well. I think the receivers, Romeo Doubs, I like him every time even more when I see him. Romeo Doubs is tremendous. Lions offense has been good. I mean, what they're doing is they're running the ball, playing keep away, etc. But I think the Packers get them. I think the Packers are highly motivated as well. Very close to the vest, the 3 teams in the front of this division. Speaking of the front of the division, the Packers, the Vikings playing the Lions. Very close game last week as well, getting the win. Falcons are trying to go ahead and get into the playoffs as well. Falcons might be getting the playoffs regardless. The division is not very good. They still may have to worry about the Bucks, I think, but that division is not very good. I think the Vikings I got to tell you, they've been winning a lot of these close games. Darnold's been really good. I think he's been right there, borderline Pro Bowl this year. There's no way around it. Aaron Jones has been fantastic for them. The offensive line, the offense has been much better than anybody thought. Defense has been great. I think they might have one of the Coach of the Year candidates. They don't hire Cisco. Brian Flores has done a miracle with that defense. It's been one of the better defenses in the league. I think they absolutely keep rolling over the Falcons. They win big time in this one as well. Seahawks and the Cardinals as well. In this one could be decide the NFC West. Rather, the Seahawks. Seahawks, I think, are really good. I think I do like Geno Smith. I think in tight spot. I think he's a decent quarterback. I don't think he's a stud, but I think he's solid. I think the difference between Geno Smith and Kyler Murray is I kind of know what I'm getting every week from Geno Smith. I kind of don't know what I'm getting from Kyler Murray every week. Some weeks Kyler Murray is terrific. Some weeks I go, I mean, what are we doing? Um, I kind of gonna lean towards the Seahawks. I think the Seahawks have a better team defensively. I think they've improved during the course of the year. Really struggling early in the year. I think they've gotten better lately. The Cardinals, I think they're just a little too inconsistent. I think the Seahawks, I do like the Seahawks in this one. All right, Chefs and the Chargers. Superchargers. Superchargers, I think, are as impressive a group. I think them in Denver is just a product of good coaching. Talent-wise, they're not there. They're not going to have J.K. Dobbins in this one. They're going to have Gus Edwards. It's not going to change their identity. I mean, they're going to run the ball. I mean, it's going to be Gus Edwards or it's going to be whoever. They're going to run the football. They have a very good offensive line. They have two outstanding tackles, Joe Alt and Rashad Slater. Totally opposite of what's on the other side. I think they're definitely going to run the ball, so you know what they're going to do. Their defense, I think, has been better. Jerwin James has been really good this year. We know they have good pass rush as well. They're going to give the Chefs a run for their money here. I'm not the conspiracy theory with the Chefs, the refs, and all that stuff. I don't think the Chefs get special treatment in terms of their offense and all that. I'm not a buyer of that per se. I do think Mahomes does get special treatment, but I think that's true of any great player. I saw it with Tom Brady. I saw it with a lot of players where I saw it with Michael Jordan, Kobe Bryant. Some guy like great players just get it sometimes. It must have been that happens. That's just part of the deal. But I'm not going to the conspiracy theory and the underlords and all that stuff with the Chiefs. Close to the vest. Offense is just not what it was. Here's what nobody's saying. Mahomes is just not playing as well as he was. That's just true. I mean, he's just not getting the ball down. I mean, he can only dink and dunk. Kelsey's not the same player. Their offensive tackles are not nearly as good as they've been. I think both tackles, it's a struggle. They're good inside, but they're not good like on the edges. I think there's more pass rush. Mahomes is very schoolboy. He kind of runs into the cover. You know, he doesn't have super discipline. I think the Chefs defense saves them though. I think their defense is really good. I think it's really catered towards the run. Everybody has trouble running on Chris Jones. And I don't know if the Chargers are ready to win a game in Arrowhead. This would be a big statement, though, if they can actually go to Arrowhead and win. But I do think the Chefs actually pull it out in this one as well. Last game, Bills and the Rams. If the Bills aren't the best team in the league, if the Eagles aren't the best team in the league, it's definitely the Buffalo Bills. Bills are been fantastic here down the stretch. I think Josh Allen, I think, is on a different planet. I think he's been just terrific in the snow. They're going to Los Angeles this week. I don't think the Rams have a shot in the world of beating the Bills. I think the Bills definitely horse race this one as well. I think the Rams are worth, though, in that division. I think they definitely got a shot to win. Stafford is still really good. I think this is why they're in that position, why they're even in the position contending. I don't think there's a lot else there. And I think with Denver and the Chargers, I think the Rams are well coached. They play with discipline. They don't make stupid mistakes. So, and they have Matt Stafford. So that's enough to keep them in games, not enough to do anything else. Jarrett Verse is a name you want to know, though. He's been fantastic rookie this year on defense, maybe defensive rookie of the year, but no, Buffalo horse races them out. There you go. Big Five. 5 biggest games on the schedule that are not Raven games, and there are no Raven games this weekend anyway. So definitely that is our larger NFL content segment. Enjoy all the games definitely this weekend. All right, so let's talk a little bit about the Terps ending their season Terps get blasted, no surprise, in Happy Valley, 44-7. Let the transfer portal begin. It's already started to happen. Terps just not their year this year. They didn't have it at all. I think they offensively they just weren't the same. The worst thing that happens sometimes is when you have a guy as good as Talia Tonga Bailoa that you just can't replace them. And that's exactly what happened. They didn't have enough offense to go ahead and replace Tua Tagovailoa. They had some offense. The defense also didn't get better, I thought. I thought the defense all year long, I didn't love it a lot last year, but they had Bro Bray, Jay Sean Parham, and they were scoring more points. So it was able to keep it contained. I think this year with less points, I think it got worse. They didn't play well enough. They gave up points, I think, every week. I'm not sure either. They didn't have a tougher schedule. They didn't have the thing I looked at the beginning of the year. They didn't have Michigan. They didn't have Ohio State. So maybe their schedule would have been easier. But they had Oregon, Nittany Lions. They were able to beat USC. They had a lot of tough games. Indiana surprised everybody being so good. So they're the Big Ten. I think I don't think it's close. I mean, I don't know why anybody's saying the SEC is the best conference. It's clearly the Big Ten, and the Terps just couldn't manage as well. Mike Locksley, I don't think he gets fired. I think it's clearly he's got the support as well. Not a good year for him. He's got to find a quarterback. Got to find a quarterback. And look, you got to recruit on defense, Mike. Your defense now, you've had a better offense since you've been there, but the defenses haven't been good. They've been very vanilla, and they haven't had they've had some decent players there. Quayshawn Fuller was a good player this year. They've had some decent players, but they look, you're in the Big Ten, man. You gotta get more physical, get some players on defense. So go in that portal and get some players on defense, but not their year. 4-8, 44-7. That's it for the Terps this year. I do think Laxley is going to be there. He's going to be there. He's going to be there. He's going to be there. I think he probably deserves another year as well. They were in worse shape without him, so he went to 3 state bowl games. I, as a fan, and this is just me as a fan talking, would like to see the Terps program elevate to that next level that the Penn States are, that the Oregons are, that the Ohio State, the Michigan, and thing. Michigan not as good this year. But I think it's possible to do that in their conference, to go ahead and recruit. But it just hasn't happened yet for him. So we will see what happens with the Terps. Let's talk a little Maryland basketball. If you have not seen Terps basketball yet this year, you're missing out on some good stuff. Terps are comparing that team to last year. What we're kind of hoping happens with the football team, we're seeing it with the basketball because it's fantastic what we're seeing with the Terps basketball this year. We're going to talk about Sunday's game, though. The Boilermakers, an 8th ranked Purdue Boilermakers against the Terps are 8-1. This is a top 25 team. They're not there, but everything I've seen, they went ahead and just completely rolled Ohio State. Ohio State was never in that game the other night. I think they fell asleep, the Terps, the first half against Alcorn State, but it's been this is a terrific looking Terps group here. So, but this is a litmus test. You're facing the team that actually was in the national championship game last year, Purdue, and a team that is in the top 10 this year as well. Julian Reese, I call him a real good piece of meat and potatoes. I think, though, the Terps are really good with Julian Reese. I think his role is completely different. Despite the numbers you're seeing, 13.3 points a game, 8.1 rebounds as well. I think the Terps are actually doing well with him. He now doesn't have to carry the offensive load, which is good. That's not what he does. He can do the role he's in, good piece of meat and potatoes. Can't key up on him, hit his little jump hook, play physical, go ahead and get all squared away down there. So definitely, and be a veteran presence. You got a lot of young guys on this team. So definitely be a veteran presence for these guys. Tavera Garpe, I didn't put him in the graphic, but he's going to push Julian Reese for playing time. Absolutely. From what I've seen here early, that guy is terrific. Like definitely a tremendous athlete as well. Got to be a little more consistent. Derek Queen is him. Just all around fantastic. I can't gush enough about Derek Queen. Definitely good inside game, great footwork, calls for the ball, good height, speed on the inside. Big guys have trouble defending him, can play the wing, handles the ball well, shoots the ball well. I think the only thing he's lacking is a little bit of experience. He looks a little green at times. I think a little too easy to defer, but he doesn't need to defer to anybody. I think he is terrific. 16.5, 8 points a game, 8 rebounds a game. I don't see any reason why he's not going to the NBA from what I'm seeing if he keeps developing. Maybe not as a freshman, but he's not. No way he plays 4 years of college basketball. He's definitely going to the league as well. What? Not yet. Not done yet. Getting there. Daughter asked me if I was done with the video. Not yet. Jacob Gillespie is really good. Jacob Gillespie, the backcourt of the Terps. Jacob Gillespie and Rodney Rice are, oh man, these guys are just, the big problem we had with the Terps last season was they couldn't shoot. These guys are tremendous shooters. I almost put a graphic with both. I think Gillespie, is a little bit better of a ball handler as well, but that's about it. Rice, I think, to me, is a more natural spot-up shooter, but these guys can shoot. You spread the floor. You have the size inside with Reese, Guevara, and Derek Queen, and then you split the floor with these guys who have tons of room because of all the attention inside, and they're going to drill it from the outside. Terrific stuff from the Terps. So the Terps definitely manhandling teams early. How good is Purdue this year? No more Zach Edey. So who was the guy who was the preseason player of the year in the Big Ten? It was Brandon Smith from Purdue. He has actually not been their main scorer so far. But look at the assist total. 9.5, 9.1 assists a game. So he's actually been scoring points. I thought there was more maturity I saw with him in the tournament last year compared to his freshman year. Now he's a junior. Definitely one of the leaders of the team. No Zach Edey on the team. So definitely probably their emotional leader. Another outstanding guy who came in, Fletcher Lawyer. This is a spot-up shooter, to say the least. 56% from 58.6 from three-point range. That's insane. This guy is, or I think like a Braden Smith is more, to use old Bulls here, John Paxson. This is Steve Kerr. Feet on the ground, hit the tray, create space. He's going to drill it. And he's been drilling it. He definitely has the ability to go ahead and do that. Definitely, though, you're going to pay attention to Braden Smith, and you're going to pay attention to Trey Kaufman-Wren, the junior from Purdue. So you look at this, 19 points a game, 7 rebounds, and you're like, well, where did this come from? Like, he's been there the whole time, but definitely with Zach Edey gone, now he's taking advantage of his opportunity, and Braden Smith has been deferring to him. This is going to be a definitely prime matchup to watch when you watch a Trey Huffman-Wren, and Derek Queen. These two guys battle it out, two of the best players in the Big Ten as well. I think Wren definitely good low post game. Not quite the shooter ball handler as the Derek Queen is, but they're feeding him inside. Not quite what Zach Edey does, but kind of like in that type of role of player. Not 7 foot, like 7'50", like Zach Edey was, but like 6'9", 6'8", a little bit more athletic, a little bit more of a mid-range as well. Great matchup. Can't wait to see Trey Hoffman-Wren and Derek Queen go off in this one. I actually like the Terps in this one. I don't think the Terps have anything to fear with this team. It'll be close. I think the Terps can pull this game out. I think they'll be more motivated to win. They have beaten Purdue in recent years. So I'm ready. Ready for this on Sunday at Mackey Arena. Definitely check it out on Big Ten Network. Terps and the Boilermakers in this one. I think the Terps actually go ahead and win this game on Sunday in Mac Arena. So I'm going to go ahead and predict the upset. Definitely check it out. No Ravens game that you have to check out. So definitely check out the Terps in this one as well. All right. All right. So definitely check it out as well. And Terps fans, we should be excited. You should be very excited about the Terps because the Terps are actually doing very well at the start. These games aren't even close. Aren't even close. It's just blowing out. Now, you haven't gotten to the meat and potatoes of the Big Ten. That's what starts with the Purdue game, even though you beat Ohio State. Played very close. The only loss was to Marquette. It's in the top 25. Beat Villanova, beat Ohio State. Really good team, Terps. All right, let's get to baseball here. And let's talk about baseball. Our breakout players for baseball here. Let's even go back. Put me in cold. I'm ready to play today. So definitely we're ready to play with the breakout players for your All right, so who is breaking out for the Orioles this year? Who is doing that? So not me. I'm not breaking out. But who is breaking out for the Orioles? So what does that even mean? Breakout players. So who's going to the next level? So for instance, we can't use, like last year we talked about Garner Henderson breaking out. He's already a superstar, right? So you can't talk about Adley Rutschman, who's already an all-star. So who is already out? Who's going from here to here, right? Who's going to move up to the next level? And not just necessarily AAA, the majors, whatever, but who's going to go higher? Who's going to raise their game who maybe we're not expecting in 2025? All right, so let's take a look at the Orioles here as far as the breakout players. Ricky Branfield, definitely he's going to, I don't know which level he's even going to be at in 2025 where he's going to start. I would think he'd start in AAA after spring. They may want to immediately move him. There's a small chance he starts in Bowie, at least for a little bit. We'll see. Here's why he's here on the Orioles is even though he's in the minors, and I think he'll probably stay in the minors. Definitely Mike Elias has definitely made a point of picking him out as far as how happy he is with Enrique Branfield and his progress and everything he's done. So absolutely, that is a thing as well. So is it a chance? He's not doing that for no reason. So definitely they may have plans for him at some point. I think there is some chance that we could see him at some point. Definitely if we have a Cedric Mullins injury prolonged or something like that. But definitely here's a guy who definitely may step up to the majors at some point. We don't know yet, but definitely that's definitely a name to watch. Chase McDermott pitched last year for the Orioles in AAA. We're going to see him in the majors this year. I definitely think, I don't know if he makes the rotation as a start, but if the Orioles don't trade him, I think definitely at some point this year, we're going to see Chase McDermott at some point in 2020 in 2025. He should actually, I think, start in AAA. I don't think he makes the rotation. I do think he'll have more of a legit shot to actually get Trevor Rogers. Winter meetings are coming up next week. We will see what happens if the Orioles actually sign a Max Fried, resign Corbin Burns, whatever. That's going to mean a lot. But I do think there's a chance we could see McDermott having a bigger role this year. Here's a name you might not as know. Definitely a top 10 pitching prospect, Trace Bright. One of the best pitchers, I think, in the Oriole minor league system last year. Trace Bright, I think, kind of is one of the better pitchers, I think, in the system. Not a pitching-rich system that the Orioles have at this point, right? So it's when you're drafting players, the Orioles definitely have a philosophy of taking the best player available in the draft, similar to like the Ravens. Pitching inventory early is not a lot there. Sometimes you get like a Paul Skeens early or something like that, but a lot of times it's not a lot there. So you kind of grow them and develop them. Here's a guy that's been growing and developing. Definitely, I think you could definitely make the case he was the best pitcher in the minors for the Orioles last year. I think definitely more of an outside shot. I think what you'll more likely see where Trace Bright is you see him in the majors at some point next year as well. I think you'll see him like July-ish, something like that. To see him in a start, something like that. I don't think he stays in AAA all season. Kobe Mayo, this is one of the cornerstones of the franchise. I don't know where he's going to play. I think all things being equal, the Orioles, if they had their way, they play him at third base every day. If they definitely would see him on a consistent basis, I do think that was part of the reason why they moved Jackson Holliday to second, because I think they want Kobe Mayo to take over at third. I think definitely that's part of the plan. They want Kobe Mayo to play third long term. My problem with Mayo is he's not good at third. I mean, he really struggled to me. I hope right now he's in Arizona or somewhere taking grounders at third. He's got a ways to go at third. I think definitely you could put him at first. The power potential is off the charts though with Kobe Mayo. He's absolutely going to be in the majors sooner next year. I think you're definitely going to see more of a contribution. Definitely, if you had to pick a player that is going to be in the contention for a Major League Rookie of the Year, I definitely think that guy is Kobe Mayo, without question. And here's a guy, I don't know what's going to happen. I've seen so many blogs and comments saying you can't trade this guy, Sam Sile. I think he's a top 10 prospect in all Major League Baseball. Definitely a top 10 prospect, one or two, depending on who you talk to as far as in the Orioles system. Where do you play him? I don't know. Do you play him at first? Do you play him at third? Do you move him to the outfield? Do you leave him in AAA? I think he's ready to play in the majors right now. I definitely think if a spot was open, he definitely has a shot to contend for it. But I don't think they would want him backing up Adley Rutschman for a whole year. I think the Orioles are looking at catchers as well. Very interesting to see. I can't imagine he stays in the minors a year either. I don't see how you take a guy with this type of talent and just have him hit 300 in the minors all season long and do that. So it'll be interesting to see. Is he trade bait? Is he moved? Is whatever? But I definitely think he's a name you want to watch out for next year. Breaking out, Heston Kjerstad, contributor starter. I absolutely believe Heston Kjerstad is going to get the opening day nod in right field as well. I think they may look at outfielders. Maybe. I think Jerkerson Profar from the Padres last year, I think that's definitely the type of signing that they would make for next year. A guy like who is a contributor, who is somebody who is what? 10 more minutes. 5 more minutes. All right, so I'm almost done. All right, so definitely a guy who's a contributor, but he wouldn't necessarily be in the way of Kjerstad. You can maybe play him in a 6 role or DH role, something like that. Again, here, Kjerstad defensively needs to improve. Definitely defensively, he's got to get some more work done. Definitely not as strong defensively as you would like. But Kjerstad, no question about it. Definitely he's a guy. I think he's going to be your starting right fielder, barring a miracle signing of Hernandez or the Dodgers or something like that. I definitely think they're going to start Heston Kjerstad in right. Jackson Holliday just turned 21. Happy birthday, Jackson Holliday. He is going from rookie to starter this year. I think Jackson Holliday is going to start at second base. I don't think there's any question about it. He didn't do what we had hoped last year. I think there is truth to that. But he's still so young. He's about a year ahead of the curve. There's no reason to worry too much about Jackson Holliday. He definitely showed it in flashes as well. I think he's fine defensively. I don't think he's a problem defensively. He's got good speed. I think they view him also as your future leadoff hitter. I do think he is the starting second baseman too. I think, again, you never know what's out there, what happens in the winter meetings. But I think Jackson Holliday, I think he's penciled in at second base this year as well. So I definitely think he is absolutely going to start. Colton Cowser from starter to all-star. So he came a whisker away, man, from winning the Rookie of the Year last year, Colton Cowser. Cowser, I think, because I've always liked Cowser. I think Cowser is a solid hitter, all-around hitter. His average, I think, will go up over time. I think this is the replacement for Santander in the 3 spot. Yeah, I think if they had to roll it out right now. So Santander, I think, starts in the 3 spot next year in left field. I think Santander, I think, is going to actually has a shot at going to the All-Star game. Can he develop into that type of player to be consistent, 20 home runs, 80 RBIs, 300 average, carry offense around him, etc.? Is he going to be that type of player over time? So definitely that'll be interesting to see. And another guy who could develop into an all-star is Jordan Westburg. I think Westy's terrific. I think this might be one of the most underrated players in all of baseball. I think he's better at second, but he's solid at third. I honestly think he surprised the organization with how well he's played. He is a solid hitter, period. I don't think he needs any more time to develop into a hitter. I don't think there's anything else you need to do with him as far as a hitter. You just got to keep him on the field healthy. I think he's a solid. I think the only thing, he missed a bunch of time last year. He had 18 home runs considering how many games he missed. So I think that this guy, I think, is fantastic. There's no reason why this guy shouldn't be playing every day as well. They may move somebody to the outfield, I would say. Route field is, I think I've heard rumors, Jackson Holiday moving to the outfield. Westy, because they may have a spot, they may have an opening in the outfield. So that might be a thing at some point where they move somebody to the outfield at some point as well. But I think Jordan Westburg, I think definitely we're going to see if we're going to get him to the All-Star game next year. All right. So I didn't have 2 games, so we're a little early as well. Definitely check out the Maryland game on Sunday as well. Definitely check out all of our social media content that we're doing. Please check us out on all of our social media platforms here at Ravery Sports, on YouTube page, X page, and our Drive to the Top Productions as well. Happy to be on board with that as well. Thank you so much for joining us here for the Ravery Sports Podcast. You enjoy the rest of your evening.